Question 3. Given point A is located at x1 minus x1, y1, and B is located at x2, y2, prove that the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared is equal to the distance of AB. So read the following proof for this problem carefully and then follow the instructions. So first notice that the points A, x1, y1, B, x2, y2 are given. They just copied what the given statement was and wrote it down there. Now it says draw an auxiliary lines through points A and C, x2, y1, and B and C. So in this step, if you look at what they're drawing, they are creating that horizontal and that vertical line that we did in the previous question to create a right triangle. So through any 2 points there exists exactly one line. You can do that. It's completely allowed in math. So now it says segments AC is perpendicular. That's what this upside down T set is meaning in math, is perpendicular to segment BC. So segments AC is perpendicular, meaning it creates a 90-degree angle to segment BC, and it gives the reason. So angle C is a right angle, definition of perpendicular. So triangle ABC is a blank, definition of a blank. Well, what did they just create? They just created a right angle within a triangle, so that means they just created a right triangle. So blank 1, I would be looking for a right triangle. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. What have we known that to be? We have known that to be the Pythagorean theorem. So that is something, if you do not have memorized, please have it memorized. So A is the distance of A is equal to y2 minus y1, and the distance of B is equal to x2 minus x1. That's the ruler postulate. That's something that is just saying that's how we find our distance. So let C equal the distance of AB. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a blank. So again, this is blank 1. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle, so that fits. So again, that's just reassuring that we have blank 1 correct. So blank 1 plus x2 minus x1 squared is equal to AB squared, the substitution property of equality. So I'm looking, this is how I would solve for blank 3. I would look below it and I would notice that they had x2 minus x1 squared, which is represented in this step, and then they had y2 minus y1 squared, which is not in this step, so that's curious. And then they have AB squared, which is in that step as well. The other thing that I would look at is commutative property. Commutative property means they swapped places. So commutative property is saying like 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. If I were to use the commutative property, I would say 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So knowing that, I know that y2 minus y1 squared has to be blank 3 because commutative property means that they swapped places. And this is the only piece that is missing. So for blank 3, I would be looking for the y2 minus y1 squared. And that's how I would go through and solve this proof. I hope that helps.